One night, one match, one shot at the Portland Sports Arena. Some have never looked back. Others, we never saw again. Welcome to One Match Wonders, where we shine the light on the forgotten names and surprising cameos from Don Owen's Portland Wrestling. I'm Frank Culbertson, your host, and today we've got 3 fascinating footnotes, each with a story worth remembering. On March 23, 1974, a young wrestler from Japan named Jumbo Tsuruta stepped into the Portland Sports Arena. He'd only been wrestling for a year. His opponent, Dutch Savage, one of Portland's toughest. Tsuruta and Savage had already met earlier that month in Japan, while Dutch was touring All Japan Pro Wrestling. Tsuruta won that match, but in Portland, in front of a crowd that had never heard of him, he lost. Savage caught him with a roll-up for the pin. Historian Mike Rogers says, "I remember that match. I was just 14 years old, stuck in a motel room in Salem for a bowling tournament with 3 rowdy roommates. I made them all quiet down so I could watch Tsuruta wrestle live on Portland Wrestling. That's the kind of impression this guy made." Well, Tsuruta went on to wrestle across the United States, West Texas, Florida, Georgia, even Madison Square Garden. And then back in Japan, he became a legend, multiple-time Triple Crown champion, a technical master, one of the greatest ever to step in a ring. Later in life, he returned to Oregon, teaching and doing research at the University of Portland. He passed away in 2000 at the age of 49 after complications from a liver transplant. But for one night in 1974, we got a glimpse of greatness. Next up, July 5th, 1975, Raul Mata entered the Portland Sports Arena for a high-stakes tag team match. And it wasn't just any match. It was the first ever bounty hunter match in Portland Wrestling, brought by the sponsors Tom Peterson and Friendly Joe Cahan, who wanted to take down the Royal Kangaroos. Mata teamed with Lonnie Main to take on the Kangaroos. It was chaos. It was physical, high energy, and loaded with heat. Mata was more than just a substitute or spot guy. He was a respected name, especially in California, Florida, and Mexico. His career lasted from 1968 all the way to 1993. And he was known for his technical ability and consistency. But in Portland, this was his lone appearance. One big match, one big crowd, and then back on the road. Mata passed away in 2018, but his one night in Portland was one for the books. And finally, we have a bit of Hart family trivia. On August 13th, 1977, Keith Hart, yes, one of those Harts, wrestled Cocoa Samoa at the Portland Sports Arena. He lost the match and then left the territory. That was it. Historian Mike Rogers checked with Keith, thinking it might be a typo in the records. But Keith confirmed, yep, one match in Portland. Then it was off to Hawaii. Keith Hart was a solid technical wrestler, like most of the Hart family. But he's the only Hart brother to ever work for Don Owen in Portland. No Brett, no Owen, just Keith. One match, a loss, and another wrestler headed off to carve out a quiet but respected career elsewhere. 3 men, 1 arena. 3 paths that crossed briefly with Portland wrestling. Jumbo Tsuruta would become a legend. Raul Mata brought the fire of lucha and the weight of a bounty match. And Keith Hart quietly added his name to the record books of Don Owen's empire. Hey, thanks for joining me on One Match Wonders. Subscribe, share, and like, and come back every Tuesday and Friday, where we remember the names you forgot or never knew at all. If you've enjoyed these stories from Portland Wrestling's Forgotten Names, there's one book you need to own. The Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by wrestling historian Mike Rogers is the definitive guide to Don Owen's wrestling empire. Over 500 pages of names, match results, and history, covering every wrestler who ever stepped foot inside the Portland Sports Arena. From Roddy Piper to Rip Oliver, from the stars to the one-match wonders, it's all in here. Available now on Amazon. It's the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers, because if they wrestled here, they're in here.